Okay, perfect.
How are
So
you?
how are you? How are you? Yeah, I'm pretty good. It's a lot going on at the moment, but the sun is shining and everything is well.
I'm in Sardinia, so
Oh, cool.
I
Sardinia is
take the.
beautiful.
Yeah, no, I know you guys in Germany know it, and most people don't.
Yeah,
When I
like
say Sardinia,
Sardinia's no,
they're like, what?
honestly, I've made like all in my history, my family always went to Italy. So we had a house at Lago di Garda, and so we went to almost every city in Italy at some point.
And I don't know. I was looking at your company, eBot.
Ebot 7, yeah. I think you had a conversation with Fabian before, right? With my co-founder at some point. Could that
Fabian
be?
is a name that definitely rings out. I'm not
Yeah.
associated to the eBot 7 name. I would remember that. So I don't know if I ever associated the two, but tell me more. What's the surname?
Fabian Behringer.
It sounds, yeah.
Yeah, it sounds really familiar. You sounded really familiar to me too. So I thought like Fabian had done a podcast with you guys, like honestly, it must have been like 5 years ago or something, or 4 years. I don't know. Could that be, or was it
No, no,
another
no.
one then?
Because this podcast is new, so definitely not this one. But it rings so familiar that I have to look through the chat history to imagine. I'm speaking to with too many people.
Okay. Like I founded Ebot 7 back in the days in 2016, scaled up the company for 5 years, sold the company to the US. It was a big thing back then. Like we had 130 people.
Yeah.
And yeah, once the New York-based Nasdaq company bought us, it was a main competitor of ours. We kind of, they bought us, and then we had to kind of scale up the European operations for them. But the problem was that, like in 2021, at the end, startup valuations dropped, and also their share price dropped. So at some point, Europe wasn't their kind of focus anymore. So they just kind of left us alone for like 1.5 years, which was crazy. And but it was a good time. And
Unusual.
then yeah, then like a hedge fund came in and like kind of cut out the whole management team. So the CEO was fired, like almost everyone in the management was fired. So we didn't have any point in contact anymore of that for the company. Was quite interesting. Yeah. So I was there for another 2 years. I spent some time there to scale the European operations. But yeah, after 2 years, I left the company. And then I founded a new company, which is
Which
actually
is
VidLab 7. VidLab 7, I founded a new company back then in 2000 and must have been 2023. And
recently.
again, like an AI company we worked with avatars and brought in AQT as an investor. It was actually the same founding team as with eBot 7. And yeah, but then after almost a year or something, I needed to leave the company because I had, burnout symptoms again, which I also had when I sold my first company. So kind of my body was telling me to stop and not to found another company, not to do it all over again. And then I had to leave, and then I went back to Africa for 4 months
I saw.
and kind of, yeah, thought about what I want to do in life. And at some point, I just, an idea came to write a book about my whole story. And then during the same time, I thought about like, I reached out to several people, and one of the guys actually told me about Substack. And I thought it's actually quite nice because you don't write a book for 2 years and nobody kind of reads it in between and you don't get any feedback. It's much better to have a newsletter where you can push weekly articles out, get feedback, and help people along the way already. And so I started Substack and built this community of a lot of founders and operators and CEOs to help them along the way. So that's what I'm currently doing, and out of that came coaching and, building digital products like a fundraising course, sponsorship opportunities, and like I get invited to conferences, to podcasts. So
In
now I do all
Africa,
of this.
what's your goal with Africa?
So I spend a lot of time in Africa because it really grounds me. I really love it there. It's
Which
just like
part?
South Africa actually.
South.
So I'm always in Cape Town, but last year I was actually in Namibia and in
Beautiful.
Botswana. So we did kind of a safari tour. through Africa, which was really nice. And yeah, it's just really nice to be there. It's really friendly people. It's,
We have a saying in Italy. I don't know if you have the same. It's the African illness, mal d'Africa, which would be
okay.
when you leave Africa, when you've been and you leave, you never forget it. You want to go back.
Yeah.
Like, it
Yeah,
leaves
it's
you with
honestly
this.
it's crazy. Yeah, all my friends are also returning every year. We are like a bunch of people. It's like 50, 60 people now that
Yeah,
are, coming every year again to South Africa and spend there like not even just a holiday, but it's more like 2 or 3 months to work
interesting.
from there.
And what's your main purpose? I mean, you have kind of a not a company about Africa, but I saw you're involved in some way.
Yeah, so I do some social stuff. So via a good friend of mine, she's been in Cape Town for the last 10 years or so. Last year, she told me if I wanted to join like a trip through the township in Cape Town, and I found it really interesting. And I saw like, we visited a kindergarten and like a disability home, and it struck me because they don't have any money. They need to the kids need to work in some spaces in order to get their food. So it was pretty crazy experience. And then I thought, okay, how about I actually, do some kind of a fundraising trip back in Germany, raise a bit of money in
Beautiful.
order to support them. And this is one of the social projects that I do. So supporting a kindergarten and a disability home there. But another one is actually regarding animals near South Africa and also Namibia. So there's an organization called AMOS, which take care of, reforestation, but also taking care of animals and, trying to, plant new trees and everything
Can
that you
can
can
you
do.
do you know the name of the website so
Yeah,
people can check it
AMES.
out?
So it's AMES. So you
Yes.
can check it out. It's almost like 400 members now, and it's a German organization. A friend of mine is running it, and it's super good. So we've in one location we've got almost like 25 rhinos, and as you know, there's a lot of poaching going on in
Yeah.
Africa about rhinos because of the horn. And so what they do is actually they have a whole kind of team that takes care of like protecting these animals 24/7. They have drones, they have fences, they have everything in order to protect them.
And that's how
And
technology comes in.
exactly, and the good thing is that like there's a lot of founders and ex-CEOs being part of the foundation, and each of them brings in like a skill or an experience or could be a drone or could be a technology. So one of the members is actually the founding member of Quantum Systems. So he provides drones, the side with drones, which is of course really valuable because you can, 24/7 have 24/7 surveillance, and it helps a lot in protect. Create some noises so that they get scared away, and it also has movement signals and stuff like that, so you know exactly when somebody is on the ground, and so then the
I'm
main
curious.
security team can come.
I'm curious of your opinion on the role of entrepreneurship in Africa to make the frog leap.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think, Africa is poor in most of the countries, right? So I think entrepreneurship can help in, kind of strengthen or even increase the economy in some states. So it's, internet is everywhere. Like now you can build a company with like you being just alone. You don't even need a team
With your
anymore.
phone, right? They
You've
don't
got
use much the computers.
yeah, you don't even need to continue to use a computer. You just have your phone, and almost everyone has a phone. So you can start your business on your phone. Like I could have started Substack, like the newsletter thing, on the phone without even, having any knowledge in that area or experience. You can get the knowledge on the internet anyways. You
Yeah,
can
we
start
got 200
anything.
subscribers in a day yesterday, and we are remote. We are
Oh,
using our
crazy.
phone, just
Okay.
posting notes every day. Let's talk about Substack. I see it as a cultural phenomenon that is waiting to be recognized. You are not the first to highlight the value of it. We've been on it for maybe a month or two now, and
Okay.
I see a big difference compared to LinkedIn, especially, or the others. And I think it's the way they are not trying to force the algorithm or force you to be in line with the algorithm.
Yeah.
And it's more like the old style. I come from old style blogs. I don't look like it, but I'm 40. So I've been on the internet, working on the internet for 20 years. And I see a lot of similarities and that beauty of the initial internet. I see it a bit, I breathe it on Substack. And it seems like an awesome conduit for a message. If you have a message and you do it right, you reach the people. And then, as you said, you publish a post instead of the book. You wait for the feedback, and then the book will have a different shape, right?
Yeah, definitely. And that was actually the reason why I got on the platform, because like, of course, it's nice to write a book for 1.5 years or something, right? But then you don't get any feedback, you don't get any comments, likes. It's hard to motivate yourself every day to write a book. But what is easier is to, not write like 300 pages at once, but write like, let's say 3 pages in 1 week, publish those 3 pages, and then, wait how the feedback is, right? And you can help along the way. You can, if someone, like, because yesterday I posted something like, the 5 main things why we were successful in my first company. So for example, timing and, the founding team and all of this stuff. And this can help other people in actually in their dream, making their dream a reality, right? And if I had waited for the book, it wouldn't have been released in like 1.5 or 2 years or something, right? So
No, I read it with pleasure.
it's a beauty.
I read your
and
Substack
also
with pleasure for that reason.
yeah, it's really nice. And what I like about Substack is it's more, I would say, honest and more direct, and like it's not so much fluff, not so much bullshit. It's not about, getting as much subscribers as possible in the shortest period of time. It's more like the honest connections, right, on Substack. So I had a call yesterday with someone on Substack who just reached out to me to have a chat about, what works, what doesn't, which topics we can actually address. Perhaps we can even collaborate on a post. So it's more about collaboration, more about like, creating something together instead of like everyone is on its own and LinkedIn is my thing and like I'm gonna post every day and stuff like that. I mean,
On
it's still
LinkedIn,
important, but
on
yeah,
LinkedIn, it feels
it's
like
changed.
zombies. It feels like everything, almost everything, 95% is fake comments because you can't be too controversial and many use bots, etc. And on Substack, I'm seeing the old internet where there is actually a human conversation. My wife is, you mentioned burnout. She's a psychologist. She helps entrepreneurs,
Interesting.
especially around burnout, work anxiety. So I know the topic very well. And on LinkedIn, we've been speaking about it for like maybe 2 years, every day with diligence, consistency, etc., doing everything right. And the number of likes and comments only slightly grows. You only get audience if you are interacting half an hour before you post and half an hour after you post, which is very dehumanizing, if you ask me.
Yeah, it takes a lot of time, right?
And the comments are like, yeah, you are right. I agree. That's important. On Substack, we started speaking about the same topics. And there is actually people that either reach out or comment with like, oh, you offer a perspective and this is important because I had this experience. And it's real human comments. It's making it fun. Same job, 2 different platforms. It's fun, Substack. I'm really loving it.
Yeah, it is. I mean, on LinkedIn, I don't know what's going on there, but like sometimes I feel like it's a really good post that I put out, and then it doesn't get any likes or comments, or not as many. But then something like I posted something 3 weeks ago, which I found like it was a good post, but it was not like super like. I mean, it was just like it was something like I sold my company and this is how I would do it again or something, and then it was like 7 steps, but like. It's nothing special. I posted similar stuff all the time. And then this kind of post went super viral, and I don't know why. Like, it gave me 1,000 LinkedIn connections, 300 subscribers, like 600 likes, hundreds of comments, 250,000 impressions, which was crazy.
Wow.
And
on LinkedIn.
Yeah, on LinkedIn. And I just didn't know why. Like, because I'm posting similar stuff all the time, but this post somehow picked it up, and it was even during the holiday.
The algorithm blessed you somehow.
Yeah, probably. I don't know. Like, someone with a lot of subscribers, a lot of followers,
maybe someone
liked the post or something, or commented on something. I just don't know. Like, The algorithm is a little bit weird. You just don't know why and when and how, and so it's yeah. Substack is easier, but also in Substack, for example, the girl yesterday I talked to told me that she had, when she actually started Substack, she had she did one note, which is kind of dissimilar with a post on LinkedIn, right? A note is like a post just shorter, and almost all of a sudden, like, she got 2,000 subscribers within one day, which is crazy, right? It never happened to me, to be honest. Like, I also post notes on Substack like 1 or 2 times a day. Nothing ever happened to me like that. So it's also like, it's a weird, I don't know. Sometimes the algorithm picks it up and sometimes it doesn't. I
Yeah.
think you just need to be lucky at some point.
I'm curious that you said about timing earlier. You said that the timing was right, and I was impressed earlier when you said 2016. Like these guys were
Yeah.
doing this in 2016. Was it already some AI component to it, or was it like a chatbot with?
Yeah, so back in the days in 2016, we kind of rode the first AI wave, I would say. Back in the days, like, Facebook had a big developer conference and kind of told everyone, hey, now we have bots and you can install them into your Facebook Messenger. And one of the first bots I saw was CNN, the CNN bot. You could do nothing else. Like, there was just news coming into the bot and you can click on it. And so that was it kind of. But we thought, this is super nice. That's a new technology. Why not do something in this area? We kind of started with bots, but it developed into something more than bots. So we had like a conversational AI kind of platform where you could, do drag and drop with different entities, and you could drag pictures but also videos, and then you could create buttons and free text. So it was kind of an NLP, natural language processing algorithm behind it already. But we were pretty early in the days, so the technology wasn't as good as today, right? So we kind of needed to find ways to make it work, even though the technology was not ready. So what we did is actually we developed kind of a hybrid system, not like a fully automated system, but a hybrid system where the support agent, in our case, because we worked in the customer service, we wanted to make the support tickets faster and automated. We worked with a support agent so they can actually kind of see the suggestions that are coming in from the system and then say, this is the right suggestion or this is the wrong suggestion. And then only then it automates, right? And then through that system, the system learn, the algorithm learns and gets smarter over time. But that was kind of our main idea.
And
And it
mode,
developed.
I guess.
And mode, you mean?
Mode.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
M-O-A-T.
Because otherwise it wouldn't have, worked. Like big corporates like Deutsche Bahn or BMW, they can't work with something that doesn't really work or works only like every second request or something. Like if you, like if you shoot out wrong requests all the time to your customers, that's the worst that can happen, right? Like you don't want that. But that's why we developed this hybrid system. So
And
whenever
you are
there's
liable
something,
for it.
yeah. I mean, in some way, they would, of course, say like, "What the fuck is going on? The system doesn't work," and so on. So at least, I guess they wanted some money
How
back.
do you say
then
that
at
in
some point.
German?
Sorry,
What the fuck is going on? I bet it sounds better in German. How do you say that?
was zum Teufel ist los hier? You would say. No, but that's what led us to, because some of our competitors did these automated systems, but the problem was that you needed to train them in advance for weeks, even months, or even years until you can actually deploy them. And we had a system which you could actually deploy instantly, because whenever something was going out where the system was not sure enough, it would actually ask the support agent to actually confirm. So that was kind of the main idea.
Human in the loop before human
Yeah,
in the
exactly.
loop.
Exactly. And that was the big advantage. And that's what I think, or why actually a lot of companies went with our technology, and why at the end, after 5 years, the company from the US actually bought our technology because they saw a lot of value in it.
Very, very interesting. And correct me if I'm wrong, but probably the best sales asset you had was the fact that it plugs into their existing systems. I think that's genius.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, back in the days, I mean, with ChatGPT, you have it somehow also now, right? You can plug in Google and like any other kind of API that you can connect to or want to connect to. But back in the days, it wasn't that easy, right? So we had to build our own kind of connections into existing systems. So we had a customer which is like a big insurance company, HDI. And so what they wanted is actually that as a customer, you can buy a complete insurance completely through the bot. But of course, required a system connection, right, to their system, because otherwise we couldn't have done like some identity approvals and stuff like
And you
that.
had
So
to do it by hand without APIs?
yeah, like in the first few weeks we did it by hands, but then we connected the systems, which were a little bit old, of course. Like big
banks,
insurance companies don't
usually
have
insurance companies,
don't have ready to use APIs, and you
with
can just
COBOL
connect
and
them.
Pascal, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it's much more difficult, but we had a good developer team, and they, connected it within a week, and then it worked. Once it works, once you connect the systems to it, it just works, right? That's the beauty of it.
It's fascinating because you did a lot of things right. The timing, the execution, the theme. Was it luck?
Yeah, I mean,
Was it ability? A mix of the
I
two?
mean, the thing is, I didn't know it back then, right? So we were just working day and night, and once you're in it, you don't really look left or right. You just, focus on building the company. And somehow we made probably more right or correct decisions than wrong decisions. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been successful. But back in the days, I mean, we were both students when we founded the company, right? I was doing my master's. Fabian was doing his bachelor's in Maastricht in the Netherlands. And we founded the company next to our studies. And we
How
didn't
did it
have any
happen?
clue about technology, any
That's
clue about,
crazy.
we didn't know how to code, we didn't know how to do business, we didn't know how a support center works in a company or how it's set up. We didn't know anything. We were just
What were you
straight out of
studying
uni.
back then? What were you studying? What
In
were
the
you...
Netherlands, I was
Yeah.
studying finance in the Netherlands, because
Okay.
my goal was actually, as a kid at the age of 14, 15, I was wanting to become an investment banker. But then I did my first internships into a bank, and then I quickly realized, okay, it's not something for me. It's like, I looked at my boss next door, and I thought, like, I don't want to end like him. So then I thought, okay, let's do something different. But I had
And
already kind of signed a contract to work in investment banking in London, but then I canceled the contract once we founded the company.
and what did you see in the company that was different that attracted you?
Honestly, for me, it was always a thing working in something dynamic. That's why I was drawn into investment banking, because capital markets are very, very unpredictable. Every day is different. And I really like that about investment banking. But then I looked into technology, and people spend most of their time on their devices right nowadays. There's a lot of value in it, probably. And if you build products to actually, make use of this whole trend, you can build a great company in a big company, right? So we just kind
That's
of
very
followed the
smart.
trend, and yeah, and then we thought, like, honestly, everyone knows about bad customer support. Like, everyone sat in a hotline already and spent, like, 10, 20, 30 minutes in a hotline not getting, to the right person, or
Yeah.
getting redirected to the wrong person, or like, there's so much stuff in customer support that you can change. And the main use case with bots is, of course, customer support.
I smile because back in 2018, we were scaling a startup, and when I saw the bots, no, sorry, not 2016, I think it was 2018. I'm confusing with your date. And I saw the bots appearing on Facebook, as you said, and I said, the first thing we should do is apply to the customer service right now. We were growing like crazy. And so
Yeah.
I said, instead of hiring new people, we already had 3 people to manage the customer service. I said, instead of hiring new people, just invest in the bot. And it was a bit too forward thinking, probably, for the time. And now, when I'm starting my AI venture, I'm betting a lot of customer service.
Yeah,
And
now probably there's not even a person working in customer service soon, right? Anymore.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like, also when it comes to technology, we had 80 developers, like 20
Yeah.
of those were just for data science, and the rest 60 were just for, full stack and front end and back end developers. Now you don't need all these people, I think.
Yeah.
Like, with Lovable and with
They are in
all
danger as
these
well.
tools,
Yeah.
it
Have you
is.
used them? Have you used
I
Lovable
actually used
also?
them. Yeah, I used it because I came back from Africa and I wanted to do something more impactful for me. So I wanted to found a new company. It would have been my third company in the longevity space because I found it really interesting. I've been doing a lot of health and fitness and stuff, over the last, I would say like 5 to 10 years or even 10 years. Yeah. And I just found it super interesting. And then I thought, how about creating kind of a platform where you have all your data in it and the AI gives you suggestions on, you know, how much you need to do sport today, how much you need to eat and what to eat, and kind of a fully fledged longevity health fitness platform where you can also connect your devices like your Whoop or your,
And
Garmin
how
or something.
would it be different from like Apple Health?
So it would include much more data because you don't only include health data or like fitness data, but you also include, how many supplements you need to take or, the scale, the weight, like everything that you can actually measure in your body, the bloodstream, how much vitamin D you need to have. You would need to upload your blood tests as well, right? So
Hmm.
all of this data in one platform would be quite valuable, I think.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And that's why I used Lovable to create kind of an MVP. And
Ah,
it took me 4 or 5 hours to create the
yeah,
MVP. And I
same.
had a login, I had the upload for the blood tests, I had an AI scheduling function because you could also actually get in
With the
contact with
API, yeah.
doctors and schedule calls. It had almost everything. Honestly, if I in 2016, if I had showed someone that platform, they would have thought like, okay, I've been working on it for like 3 years minimum.
Yeah,
It's crazy, and I did it for like hours, like 4 or 5 hours. It's
it's very
crazy.
impressive for now. I don't
For
think it
now,
will last
yeah.
long.
I mean,
The
that's the
Googles just
question.
came
Like,
out.
I think it's very good for like trying things out and creating MVPs. I'm not sure if you can actually use it
Hmm.
in a scalable way yet, right? So I think you still need developers in order to,
You need developers.
make it trustworthy and reliable and secure. And especially in terms of infrastructure, if you want to scale, if you don't have like 10 customers on a platform, but like thousands or 100,000 or millions, I think you definitely need developers to actually,
Yeah, and
code that.
I know a great programmer. I've been working with him for 20 years, Simone Tambasco, plug him in. And I admire him because he was a full stack developer, and from day one, he's so cursor and lovable. And many of my programmers, devs, friends were like,
Yeah,
not
of
for
course.
me, it's for people that don't know how to code. And he fully embraced it. I didn't expect it. I was like, day one, and he went all in, and he made the right choice, of course. And when you combine his dev skills and the AI, you get the best result, absolutely. Otherwise, after a while, you need to be a good
Yeah,
dev
I mean,
still.
I think it's easier if you're a developer and using these tools because you can always jump in and, manually change something. But if you're a business person like me and you use Lovable and you create all this code, like, hundreds of thousands of code, and then you give it to a developer, he might not even know how to start, right?
Yeah, that
What's
happened
wrong
to
with
us.
it?
That happened
Yeah,
to
it's
us.
it's really, really difficult.
Yeah, with Bolt, I was using Bolt instead of Lovable. I've tested both, and I chose Bolt just because it would get to the what I wanted quicker. So I was doing exactly the same project, and I did it on
Yeah.
the two. And Lovable after a while was like trying to solve an error, and then it would jam, and Bolt was able to get to the result, and it will work in theory. But when we went and made it into a full app, the devs said the code is trash. I wouldn't even call it code. While Lovable was actually, yeah, it was more difficult to use, but the code was cleaner. So
Okay,
there
interesting.
was a trade-off there. And the other thing that I did was like I said, why am I using a tool and I just take my VPS, my server, and I started coding from scratch on the server with AI, of course, and created a Flask app with Python
Okay.
and with Windsurf. I used Windsurf,
Yeah.
and
Hmm.
without the Lovable or Bolt layer, that's actually the thing that the devs told me is the closest thing to a real software ready to be.
Interesting.
fully packaged. So that's something that I came out with, not haven't read it anywhere, but I would bet on it next time.
Yeah, I mean, the technology is only getting better, right? So
Yeah.
I think even if it's now like just for prototyping, like
Yeah.
imagine like a year from now or 2 years from now or 3 years from now,
Yeah,
it's
it
gonna be
took me
crazy.
3 months. It took me 3 months to build this software. We were trying to solve the problem of AI that doesn't sound like me when I write. So I would take like as little as 500 words from you, from any text you wrote, and create not only a tone mapping of your voice, but also a psychological analysis. Because actually, the words that you speak come from your beliefs and psychology. Now, 500
Yeah.
is the smallest one that you need. Ideally, you need a few thousand words. And the software would take you feed it your source of key data. So let's say that
Hmm.
you want New York Times and others to give you just the key talking points. Then you give it your sources, and then it would simply write articles in your own voice with your own talking points, your ideas, etc., and the key data points. And it would put everything together into articles or the LinkedIn snippets, etc. And it took me
Interesting.
3 months. I was so happy with the result, and I was like, yeah, I invented a new way of programming. I'm so happy. And like a week later, it was like solved by some new tools, and I was like, yeah, learning in this era is not as convenient as before. It's more like adapting every day, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like it's just changing too much right now. That's
Very
why,
much.
honestly, I'm not sure if I would found a company right now because it could be that in a week's time it's over again, right? Like you
Let's
don't
talk
need it
about that.
anymore.
That's very
Yeah, it's
spicy. I
like
like that topic.
it is super interesting. Like it's just like technology has never been so fast as now, I would
Yeah.
say, like especially AI.
And faster. It's increasing exponentially.
I mean, probably, honestly, like if you worked in something like a hardware startup, like you don't have the risk of getting completely overrun by AI right now, right? Because AI, hardware and robotics is still not, didn't have the ChatGPT moment, I would say. It's gonna come at some point, but
Yeah.
there's not that much data available like in on the internet, like with ChatGPT. So it's gonna take a lot longer. But on the software part, like I don't know, it's on one hand you've got much more competition than before because simply everyone can just build prototypes and build products right now without having a big team, without having millions of venture capital funding. And on the other hand, it's also like once you build something in a week's time, ChatGPT takes it over and can do it too, right? So now it's super interesting, but also super difficult to
What are the
know
mods
exactly what you
today?
want to
What do you
do.
think? What do you think is defensible? What is something that is not taken away?
I mean, as I said, like I would say hardware is defensible, but hardware is hard, right?
No, no,
Like
in
you
the
need
software
people
space,
in the
especially
software
in the software.
space. Honestly, I think nothing is super secure right now.
Hmm.
I looked at the software adoption space back in the day, like a couple of weeks ago. And the thing is also there, like, software adoption is like you go into a tool, like into a software, and it shows you exactly what you can do. And, here are the steps that you need to do in order to make it work and stuff like that. So it's like kind of an overlay on software that shows you how it works. But also that one, for example, you can just ask ChatGPT, hey, how does that work? Like, for example, if you use Salesforce, you can now, like, back in the days, you needed to kind of open Salesforce articles and Google it and like, how can I create this contact into that opportunity and stuff like that. Now you can just ask ChatGPT. And also the tools like Salesforce, they would of course also kind of deploy agents, for example, that can just do it for you. So you don't need adoption platforms anymore, essentially, right?
Yeah, and I've been predicting this for a while, and I saw just that it came out a few days ago with Google AI Studio, something similar, that we're heading towards the end of software as we know it. As like my company makes a software and it has this UI, etc., and we're going, let's call it fluid software, where it's an instantaneous morphing of the UI and the function, of course, to adapt to your task in the moment. So we have a
Yeah.
lot of data on UI now. It's not just the dark art. We know what works best. Yeah, the buttons are here. We also developed like a common language, right? The icons, etc. And so the AI has that data to say, well, you have to, I don't know, put your info for the bank login. I don't know, maybe login software will disappear, but just for the sake of it. And I will create simply a UI where you put your name and whatever I need, and it's
Yeah.
created in on the spot just with the fields that you need. Then you say, now I have to do something else, and the software will adapt. And I don't know if we'll have someone producing a single software. I see it more as an operative system kind of thing, like in the movie Her. It just creates the UI and it
Exactly.
needs to explain what you are doing. What do you think?
Exactly. It's exactly how I think it will go. At some point, you will have something in your ear, on your nose, or something which can just act as your personal assistant, and it screens your emails. It does what you want to do. It's kind of an agent for you that does whatever you want to do, right? And the question is, do you actually need websites anymore? Do you need software anymore if you have that kind of tool? Because you could just tell him, hey, can you send, I don't know, 10 emails to these and that, and you don't need adoption software if you don't need softwares anymore, right? Like it's super
My
interesting.
Linux, my Linux systemist friends always say if you know how to tell Linux what to do with commands in the shell, you don't need UI because it slows you down.
Yeah,
Right? You
exactly.
get to the goal faster when you know the language enough, you're fluent in it. And I was doing something like maybe 6 months ago, yeah, maybe a year, something like that. And I said, why don't I plug GPT, was even before Llama, I think, why don't I plug GPT into Linux and I create a translator from NLP, from natural language, to Linux shells code.
Yeah.
And so I was saying simply, hey, create these folders, move all the files there, and in natural language, and it would just translate it, find a way to translate it into, and execute the commands. I think now there will be probably 25 of them, but I made it for myself, and I was like, do we really need UI at this point? Maybe for
That's
some
what
things,
I'm
of course.
Yeah, I'm also asking myself, do you actually need to type anymore? Like, do you need to have your mouse anymore? Like, do you need a screen anymore? Like, I
Yeah,
could imagine you just have a device in your ear
yeah.
and then you just tell it what to do, right? And
And it's
that's
also a
how
bit
we will
romantic.
communicate.
For me, I'm from the 80s again. I'm a bit older than you. And to see the revival of text on the screen, like we are going back to text on the screen. And in the 80s and 90s, all the movies showed us that you can tell the computer what to do. So when I was making music when I was 14 and making music with software, they were like, "Yeah, that's easy. You tell the computer to make the song." I was like, "It's not that easy, but we're going into that direction." The goal was always to command the computer like it was a human, and we're getting there. It's kind of romantic in a way.
Yeah, I think there's always like a movement that goes back again. I feel like Substack is a little bit of a back movement, right? Like from like all the dynamic
Interesting.
and fast posting to like, writing posts again or writing articles again. Nobody takes a time to write an article anymore, right? Everyone's just using ChatGPT and push out
Yeah,
generic content, but
we stopped looking at reels and shorts. Not that I
yeah.
watched a lot of them, but maybe, 5, 10 minutes here and there will be a relaxing thing. And I stopped completely after vacation
Yeah.
because we said, let's do 3 days, no phone, no technology, let's plug everything off. It was beautiful, by the way. And then when we started again with using phones for work, we said probably the biggest impact was taking notifications off
Yeah.
and reels and shorts. And we noticed how the relationship between us and technology, especially the phone, changed from feeling slave of the phone, like, hey, look at me, look at this notification, etc., to now I simply take the phone when I want. I don't have
Yeah.
the little red bubble, so I open WhatsApp.
Yeah,
Not
yeah,
many people
exactly.
know, but
Like
you
you
can.
need to take control of your
Yeah,
phone again. Like, like it controls you. You need to take control. So I've not I don't have any notifications for the last
interesting.
7 or 8 years, I think. I've
Really?
deleted all of them. Only the time critical ones I have. Like if the Uber driver's there, you need to have a notification, right? But I
Same.
don't have any Instagram, any WhatsApp, anything like that. I deleted it already like definitely 7 or 8 years ago already.
And it's
And
beautiful. And also
And
the
I don't
speed
have
of
TikTok. I don't use Instagram a lot. Like I don't watch any reels. Like it just, it's such a time waste. And you can
yeah,
focus your energy into something that you can build.
and so also it's the speed, just to connect to the speed thing. What I notice is Substack, long article, I can take a minute. I don't have many flashy things going on, it's just the article, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there is notification below, but whatever. And I can take the time to read something and absorb it, like old style.
Yeah.
With YouTube shorts or whatever, mine was YouTube. I love YouTube. And I got
Yeah.
into shorts, into YouTube, and I was like, yeah, there is a dead baby here, and then an advertisement there, and then how to make a good cake there. And it was every 15 seconds. I don't think our brains are made for that.
No, definitely not. I think you need to protect your brain. Also, I don't read a lot of news, for example. So it's not like some people have their first screen that they open, their Chrome or something. They have newspapers on it, right? I would never do that. News are built in a way that they push out negative news, so you read it because that's the psychology. Like negative things, your mind has more focus on. So you would sell more newspapers once it's negative, right? That's quite easy to follow. So
We have a
I try
saying
to avoid that.
in Italy for news. I don't know if it's international, but it's the TS rule. It's in Italian is sesso, scandalo, sangue. It will be
Yeah,
sex, scandal, and blood.
and blood.
And those
Yeah,
are the three things that drive news. And I followed the tip of a coach of mine 20 years ago and said, try not watching news, see how you feel. I was like, how do I stay informed? I said, if something really happens, really important is going to happen, like a war, major thing, you'll know anyway. It's not like you need the news for that.
exactly. The most important news you get by talking to your friends or like, just living, you will get some
Yeah.
news. You don't need
Or
to
even in
open the newspaper.
like with the recent assassination that has been, like it's impossible to avoid. I was looking at, and I'm interested, but I was in another YouTube channel that didn't have the algorithm, so he didn't know I
Yeah.
was looking at those videos in the other channel, and I was looking for a recipe or something, and 2 3 videos were about this news because it's such a big news, you cannot really not see it even if you're not interested in it, or a major
Ye-
war. So why do I need to constantly be bombarded by
Yeah,
some sad
exactly.
news,
Yeah.
especially start my day with it? Our parents would breakfast start the TG and the news, etc. And yeah, definitely best tip of my life. It works. I suggest it to everyone.
Yeah, and also like if it's the first thing you do in the morning, like pick up your phone, then you get bombarded by news, bombarded by messages, by everything that you don't want, right?
Yeah, how do you create something beautiful starting from that kind of energy?
Yeah, exactly. Like your day will start negative if you start reading the news, or even if you get messages or something. It's not that like you don't control your life then, it controls you, and especially your phone controls you at some point.
What's
So I would
your
always suggest like what's easy, like if you know the book Atomic Habits, for example,
yeah,
it kind of shows you how to build good habits and destroy bad ones. And for example, with the phone, I don't leave my phone in my bedroom. It's never in the bedroom. It's always in the kitchen from like to charge it. So I always have my charger in the kitchen, so I don't kind of put my phone into the bedroom because it's gonna be empty anyway. So like I always leave it in the kitchen and then go to bed. And in the morning I wake up, I do my stuff, meditation and stuff like that, and then I go to the kitchen, do my breakfast, and then I pick up the phone. And it's
you
been
practice
a game changer.
meditation?
I do meditation, like I do priming, for example, like, some movement in between, but also, gratitude and, thinking of where I want to go. And it's almost 10 to 15 minutes every day. And it's been helping a lot.
It
It's really
changes
good.
everything, huh?
It changes everything. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. I was
And
at like Tony Robbins event like 2 weeks
yeah,
ago, and it was quite amazing because it was like 13,000 people in one kind of arena, and everyone meditated, and it was just
13,000.
super 13,000. Yeah, it was crazy. And it was just such a good atmosphere. And once like everyone is meditating, you have this cool vibe and environment that is just crazy. You can
You
feel the
felt
energy of
something.
other people. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
amazing.
and it connects back to the what you said about our brain being naturally primed for looking for problems and dangers. It's
Yeah.
its natural pattern for survival. But in this day and age, it might be, it's a survival mechanism. It got us through to here where we are. Fortunately, it's
Exactly.
good. But maybe it's not the best for the kind of world we're living in. And gratitude is the antidote to that, is the perfect antidote. I
Exactly.
discovered, Jan Canfield was speaking about in one of his books, like Jack Canfield, he said he has this practice of 7 minutes of gratitude every day, and for 7 minutes, timer, don't think about anything else, and write down whatever you are truly and genuinely grateful for. Like, don't
Yeah.
force it. And in that time, I was like, I don't know, it felt very kind of honey, peachy, pinky stuff, like too fluffy. But I tried it. I gave it a try, and for a couple of weeks, I did it. Everything changed. My business changed, other than my mood, etc. I would focus on, oh yeah, I accomplished this today. I did this today. Oh wow, I kept it for maybe 2 years, and then simply like gratitude is the best attitude. Like it becomes your
Exactly.
new attitude when you do it enough. And at the end, something interesting was like that. In the beginning, I was grateful for like I'm grateful that I learned English. My life changed when I learned English. It was beautiful. I'm grateful that I made this sale today. The good results. And towards the end, it was like I'm grateful that I'm breathing. I was grateful for
Yeah, yeah,
basic
that
stuff
that
that I
could be
wouldn't
that
notice.
could be something you are grateful for, right? Like it's like breathing means you are happy, you are like healthy, it's like there's other people that are super sick. Like it's crazy. Like gratitude is definitely the one cure that if you feel anger, if you feel sadness, if you feel something negative, gratitude will solve it.
And it's free.
It's free, yeah. It's definitely free. And the thing is, like regarding the other point, like your mind or your brain is not built for kind of to make you happy. It's built for survival, right? So it of course scans for problems all the time.
Exactly.
And so you kind of need to trick out or like you need to control your emotions, your brain in order to feel better and to feel free and not to be controlled
It's
by those negative
an
emotions.
active management, right?
Exactly. And that's why you need to prime it every day because it's a practice, right? If you do it every
I do
day,
the same,
at
yeah.
some point your brain will kind of see like, okay, I'm not in control, he's in control. Shit.
And you and you start, yeah, it's your mind. You should be able to control it, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
They are your
But your
emotions.
your mind pushes also sometimes it pushes information which are just not true. So sometimes just don't believe your mind. I
Or
think is that, am I in the state, am I in the right state right now to have these thoughts? Or are these thoughts something that, you know, I just don't, I just have because something happened to me or, in the past. I mean, sometimes it's hard to like do it every day because then something comes up, you need to go to a conference or you get a call or something like that, but you have to kind of do it. Like
it, it
it's
strengthens
like
out
brushing
the
your
more you do
teeth,
it.
right?
Yeah,
It's like
exactly.
brushing your teeth. Even if you go to a conference, you would still brush your teeth, right? So like you just need to do it. Like it it it, it makes a lot of difference in your life.
Many people complain that when they go to motivational seminars, they are, let's say, yeah, but it lasts for only 2 weeks and then you're back to normal. Yeah, so does brushing your teeth. It lasts for a little while, then you have to do it
Exactly.
again. You have to keep it. And
Yeah,
I see
exactly.
that this seems like an ingredient, surely, for your success. But do you think you had a recipe, something like a North Star? You mentioned growing the company was your focus with your partner.
Yeah.
Other than that, something that really allowed you to fund two companies
Um,
successful.
So, like the thing is, like, of course, hard work and dedication is super important, but like this is what everyone says, right? Like, if you don't work hard enough, you can't make a successful company. I think that's unbelievable, and especially if you don't have the skill, if you don't have the experience, you need to work even harder in order to achieve something. Because in the second company, I founded a second company after the first, right? And of course, it was much easier. I didn't need to work day and night, not on the weekends, not on my birthdays. I could, chill a little bit because I had the experience, I had the skills in order to build a company. But in the first one, it's all about dedication, it's all about hard work. Timing is, of course, very important, as we said earlier. It's like you need to build the right company at the right time. If you
Not
had,
too
for
early, not
example,
too late.
yeah, if you had founded Lovable 5 years ago, it wouldn't have been successful because the technology was not there. If you had founded like car sharing or Airbnb 10 years earlier, nobody would want to like rent out his place to strangers, right? It was just
Yeah.
like the kind of the
3 years
trend.
seems to be the sweet spot.
Yeah, you need to kind of, it's always easier to ride a wave instead of, fighting against gravity. Like when the first company we wrote the first AI wave, and the second company we wrote the second AI wave with ChatGPT. Like, so it's much easier to convince investors, much easier to try out, prototypes or pilots with customers because they see it in the news. If, for example, the news hadn't picked up on crypto, it wouldn't have been so successful, right? It's about, momentum. It's about like where the technology goes, where the opinion goes, where people are interests, the interests go. So I would always suggest to pick the right timing. Sometimes it's hard, right? What's the timing now? Like, what should I find now? But if you read the news, you know what's on there, like
So
what's
the
trending.
news could be kind of a hack, forgive me the word, to know when timing is good.
Yeah. So with news, I mean, for example, if you look at where the most successful VCs invest right now, you can go to Y Combinator, for example, and look at the latest batch. You can go to Excel, Sequoia, Creandum, all these the most successful VC companies, and just see what they invest in right now. And you know exactly what kind of the topics are which drive a lot of, investment appetite. Because at the end of the day, I mean, you can bootstrap, but I think in most of the cases, especially with AI, you need money to grow the company. So where kind of the appetite goes, the money goes, and it's going to be a lot easier to
That's
found
interesting.
and to raise money. And
Have you
then the third
tried
point,
bootstrapping ever? Have you started
I mean,
bootstrapping maybe?
if I founded a new company now, I would definitely bootstrap because I've done a lot of investment rounds, a lot of investors. In the first company, we had around 13, 14 investors. In the second one, we had around 8 or 9 investors. It's nice to have investors, but if you can do it yourself, it's way better because you don't give up control. And, nobody can actually say something if you want to go into another direction. You're your own boss, and I want to stay
Yeah.
my own boss. That's why I also started Substack and
Less
the
burnout for sure.
the honest founder now because I don't want any employees. I don't want any investors. I'm just my own boss. I'm a solopreneur. I can do whatever I want. I can go on holiday whenever I want. I don't need to ask anyone. I don't have any co-founders I need to, talk to. It's just the best feeling to
Yeah, it was
not being
surprising that you
dependent on
guys
anyone.
were so young and you managed to make it work. Two co-founders. That's
Yeah.
even rare. Like you had a good chemistry. Was it
So in the
discipline?
Yeah, I mean, this honestly, discipline is definitely the point. Resilience is the point. Like, working hard is the point. Like it just I think it's about mindset, having the right mindset, a growth mindset. If you always think the world is against you, you will never be successful, right? Like, but if you think you can actually create and you can focus your energy in the things that you want to build and it's going to happen at some point, you're positive, you look positive into the world, then positive things will also happen, right? And I never thought like it's going to be bankrupt or unsuccessful. I always thought the company would be successful anyways.
Yeah,
If we work hard enough, if we hire the right people, if we get in
that's
the right
beautiful.
investors, like honestly, what should happen?
So doubt wasn't creeping in your mind.
I mean, sometimes you have doubts, right?
Okay.
That's no question. Everyone has doubts. But the thing is, these doubts can also spur you to be, have even more energy because you don't want them. So you're trying everything that these doubts don't have to come, right? If you do
Yeah.
everything to get all your customers, why should you have any doubts to get more customers? Like if
Can
you've
you
done
repeat
your
that?
work, if you've done everything you tried, there's no thing that you need to be doubtful for.
And when you say hard work, what do you mean? Because it also led you to burnout. So I guess you
Exactly.
still need hard work today to do whatever your new company, even if you're your own boss, you're not working on birthdays, but it still needs hard work. So how do you define it?
So I mean, hard work is is not that bad for your body if you enjoy working, right? If you're fulfilled. The problem arises when you work really hard for something that you don't care and you're bored and you're You don't want actually to work for that. And also if there's a lot of anxiety around it, or like you're scared about something. So when I first had the burnout, it wasn't because of a hard work. It was about, when we sold the company, kind of, it was a hard and long process, right? It took almost 9 months. And of course, when we started the process, we needed funding. So we found an investor who wanted to fund us, and it was a US based investor. But then at some point he said, like, if you want to sell the company, you need to tell me now, because I'm not going to wait for the next weeks until you decide. So we needed to cancel him. And so everything was on one card to sell the company. But of course, then the M&A process took longer. You work with, American lawyers. So it's, of course, day and night. Every day is super uncertain, because at every point in time, they could have just, bailed out and said, like, no, we're not going to buy you. And then we would have been bankrupt, essentially, because we put everything in one card. And that was kind of the uncertainty around the M&A process, but also in parallel, seeing my mother get, unhealthy, and like, she was really sick during that time and died also after a couple of months. Like having that in parallel and having this super exhausting M&A process on the side was just something that, I guess not many people can actually, it takes the resilience. And like, I felt like a machine at some point. I didn't feel human anymore. I was just working day and night, making it work. There was a lot of negatives that did come in, right? Like investors negotiating about tiny things, and it was crazy, the whole process. And having that feeling of any day it could be over, having this feeling over months, having this fear over months, it just destroys you at some point. And so when we sold the company, I was at the notary. I was completely, fucked up. Like my body was just not moving anymore. My brain was completely frozen. I couldn't, breathe anymore almost. Like it was crazy.
Wow. And you can't think, right? It feels like you can't access your mind.
No, like I was just completely, I was not in my body anymore. Like I was just like, I was sitting there, but I didn't feel like sitting there. It was crazy.
People use the word burnout lightly. Oh, I'm so burnout lately.
Yeah. It's just like, being exhausted. But burnout is something completely different. I couldn't actually ride my car anymore. I couldn't read books anymore. So after that happened, like, honestly, I was not a human anymore. I could just be in bed and like, be in bed the whole day. I couldn't wake up. I couldn't.
Some suggestion for the people that will listen to this to avoid that, possibly?
In my case, it was super difficult to avoid because I wanted to sell the company. That was the only way we could make it successful, actually, because we had declined the fundraising anyways, right? And so we kind of had this gut feeling that we needed to sell the company. And then it was a huge process and American lawyers involved. So day and night, of course, because of the time difference.
They
then
sleep with the
something
phones
personal.
next to their...
Yeah, then something personal on the side, which you can never influence. If bad things happened, all bad things happen at the same time. And then this can kind of lead into a burnout.
Yeah, for some reason.
But if you enjoy what you are doing, if you're like, it's not like working hard leads to burnout, right? That's not true. It just leads to burnout if you have a lot of fear around it. If, like, as I said, like if you just don't enjoy doing what you're doing, like having 4 or 5 hours of, like having 4, 5, 6 hours or even 10 hours of lawyer calls every day for months is not something someone can ever enjoy, right? Because it's always about negatives.
People are strange, I don't know. But something that I found out after many years is like I was speaking with my sister, which is the most creative type that you can imagine. And we always thought that she would be like a painter or something, right? And she said, I discovered I like admin work. Or like,
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, that's curious. But I said, why? Because when I do it, I'm by myself, I can focus, I can concentrate, and I feel good after it. And that matches what I found, that also my interests are very diverse. If you can stay in flow, if your work allows you to stay in flow, it's very difficult to burn out and you can do it for a long time. Whatever type of work it is. It can be admin work for someone, artistic work for some others, coding. If you get me out of flow and it's a constant, that's really destroying my brain. And this formula
Yeah.
for myself allows me to select which activities to immerse myself in, because when I go in, even if it's painful. But now I
Yeah.
say, do I experience flow when I do it for 12 hours a day? Yes, I can do it, even if it's hard for someone else.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I don't have a specific formula, but like I know my body much more now. I know exactly when it's super exhausted, when I need to make a pause or something, or go for lunch or go for, something else, like to meet friends. Like it's about feeling and feeling your body much more and knowing exactly when to stop and when to start
What it
again.
needs.
So like sometimes I need to drop my phone at like 4 or p.m. because my body is just like super exhausted and it needs a break.
And you get negative returns from it, diminishing returns from the
No,
hours
it's
you
actually
dedicate.
it's the other way around because I wouldn't be so productive anyway. So how about just starting work the next day? I mean, I'm lucky because I can do that. I have my own company. I'm my own boss. Like imagine if you would work for someone else, like being employed, then you can't just, do nothing for the rest of the day. But that's why I could never work in any company anymore because I want to be free. I want to be, I want to have the freedom of like just spending, just doing a day off without even asking anyone. And
That's
because my
beautiful.
body needs it, for example.
And you conquer that. So you can do it now.
Yeah, it's really nice. Yeah, I've done a lot of, in the last 3 months, a lot of things happened in a positive way, and I'm really happy how my kind of life shifted from like being a founder, having the second AI company, doing it all over again, the same day and night, to like something where I completely left a job, went to South Africa, and then came back and founded something completely different, like sharing my story and also helping founders along the way. It's
Speaking
something
of
that's just my passion.
speaking of your second company, I have to ask, what's up with the number 7?
Yeah, to be honest, like we just thought it would be nice if people recognize us again, because the
Like
first
a
company
brand new
was
thing.
it's called eBot 7, the second VidLab 7. We just thought it would be nice, and also the domain was free, so you always have to
Yeah,
check
makes
about
domains
the
easier
domain
to
names,
find.
right?
Yeah, you gave me
Yeah,
an
and
idea now. Yeah.
yeah,
My
there's not that
company
many
will have an
companies
8.
with a 7 at the end.
Are you pursuing the alt one? Are you still going for it for to build it? The alt
For
AI app.
which one you mean?
The one you were speaking about, I don't think is
The
the
longevity
7.
app. Probably not, because I also felt when I was doing that, I was working the whole day and like spent like 5 hours on Lovable. And at the end of the day, I noticed that my body just can't do it anymore. Like building an AI company, having a team, because I would have needed investors again. I just want to be free. I don't want to be dependent on anyone. So I think I'd rather spend my time helping other people now instead of creating something new again. I'm
Beautiful.
not saying I would never ever do another company again, but it would need to be something completely different.
Again, your body
Especially,
will tell you when the time
yeah, my
comes.
body will tell me. Now I just need to listen to my body and it tells me what to do.
Man, I've been producing music for maybe 23 years now, something like that, maybe
Crazy.
more.
Okay.
And I love it so much. And sometimes I even took a pause for 2 years. And I said, get out of me. Like it's not in me. I don't enjoy it. So probably I stopped forever. And that was my idea. I stopped. I'm not a producer anymore. And then after 2 years, something starts bubbling up. And when I go back
Yeah.
to it, it's more genuine. I'm better than before because I let go of a lot of ideas and formulas that maybe are not good. And I insist on them. And then I go back to it. It's more pure. It's more beautiful. And so I let my body, and it happened maybe 2, 3 times. The longest one was 2 years, smaller ones. And I trust that process, even with companies or ideas. If it's not there and I'm forcing it for some mental stuff, not good. And when it comes and
Yeah.
it's general, I let it build it for a while, and then I feel like, yes, it's the time to go in. So I believe in that process that you
I
described.
can definitely understand that. Yeah. I mean, sometimes you just have to step away and do something completely different so your mind can reset and then you can start over again. But if you don't have any passion or any interest anymore in what you're doing, you're definitely on a track to get into burnout. So that's why my body was telling me you need to stop, you need to terminate. And then I did it. Honestly, it was the best decision in my life so far.
I
Like
think
just
burnout is
leaving.
the protagonist of our chat.
Yeah, I don't know. Like it's a big topic, right? Like a lot of
Yeah.
people are struggling, have depression, and burnout is kind of a depression, right?
It
Like
comes out. It comes
it's
down to that. To you. You are the driver of everything. So if your system is not
exactly,
working, everything passes through you. Everything will become shit. And and
exactly.
and now you have focus on your new company and the African social work, correct? These are
Exactly.
your
So
two
I'm
main
I'm
things.
doing the social stuff on the side. We just raised 5,000 euros for a new football court for the
Congratulations.
kindergarten, which is quite nice.
Nice.
Yeah. But I want to do it in a more structured way because like helping one time is nice, but I would like to actually help on a yearly basis, right? So I'm currently setting up like a membership kind of social organization where people can actually pay for, for example, they can pay for the food for one child for a year or something, and that's going to be 100 euros a year. But we need more commitment than just like, here's 50 euros once. We need like 3, 4, 5 year commitments. So that's what we are
Mm.
currently building. And then on the other hand, I'm just helping founders along the way. So I'm currently building a fundraising course as a digital product. I'm releasing these articles on Substack every week to
I'm
help
interested.
founders. Yeah, exactly. Trying to tell my story, but at the same time, tell people, or like, release frameworks, release all the mistakes that I did, they don't have to do again, right? So I'm just trying to help.
What would you do differently? I see this is a big theme for your Substack.
What I would do differently in terms of my life or in terms of Substack right now?
No, no, no. Creating a new company right now, what would you do differently if you were in the same conditions?
Okay, I mean, that's interesting. I mean, I would definitely try to bootstrap. I would definitely try to not take any investors, even
Really?
though, yeah, with AI, it's going to be difficult not to have any investors, and because you need to be quick, you need to build a team as quick as possible. But I would try to bootstrap, to be honest. Investors are nice, but also they take ownership. You're dependent on them. Like you need to kind of let them know what's happening, report, send investor updates. All of this stuff I just don't want anymore. I
Even though
just
with
want to be
ChatGPT
free.
it's easier now.
Yeah, I mean everything is easier now, but also like if you have too many people in one company, like it's just hard to, I don't know, like you just want to do whatever feels right and not ask other people that don't have any idea
How
where
would
you
you
want to go.
suggest bootstrapping? I'm a bit bootstrapping fan. I always believed in bootstrapping, and I'm only just recently considering investing for the same reason that you said in AI. How would you bootstrap?
I
How
mean,
would you go about
bootstrapping is for most of the people it's difficult because you need money actually to scale, right?
it?
And the good thing was that I sold my company in the eBot 7 into live person, right? So I have money to actually spend into a new venture. But most of the people don't have that money. So what's quite trending in the VC space is now seed strapping, which is kind of doing a first round of family and friends or also some angel investors. But then from that point in time, like let's say raising 1 million or something, and using that million to become profitable and then bootstrap along the way. So just doing one round of capital, but then using that capital for becoming profitable. Probably if I didn't have the money, I would do it that way. But I
Do you think?
wouldn't do the kind of the fundraising route in the sense of every 12, every 18 months, another fundraising round and giving up capital again, giving up ownership. I wouldn't do the same route as we did at eBot 7.
Yeah, what I always thought, go as far as you can with your own legs, and then
Yeah,
get investors later on. That would be.
exactly. It also always depends on who you can actually attract into investing into your company. Like there's good investors and bad investors, right? If you have bad investors, I would never
Exactly.
take them, no matter
Exactly.
what. But
Yeah,
if it's good investors that are
I don't
like,
remember who it
that you,
was, but it was presented in a YouTube video, probably a short that I saw. And it was like one of the earlier investors VC in Silicon Valley, the OG of
yeah,
VCs in Silicon Valley. I said, I think 70% of investors produce negative returns.
I think so too. Yeah, to be honest, I am in my own experience. I think that's definitely true. Because you need to
Uh,
imagine, like, if you're a founder, you've been working in your startup for like, let's say 3, 4 years, day and night. You will definitely have more insights in your kind of technology, in your startup, in your product than an investor that comes from the outside. I mean, most of the time, right? There's, of course, investors who are really smart and can give really good advice. We had someone like that.
yeah.
But a lot of investors recommend something that I would never recommend, for example. Like,
Some
you
sort
just
of
need to be really careful.
a marriage with an ugly dude most of the time. So you gotta be careful.
It is a marriage, and yeah, the thing is, you always need your investors to invest again, because otherwise it would be a bad signal in the next round. So you're kind of dependent on your investors to invest again. So what does that mean? If they say something, you of course will kind of do it because you think if they don't agree, or like, if you don't do whatever they say, they won't invest in the next round, which is a really bad sign. And then probably the probability is quite high that you don't raise another round. So that's what I don't like.
And you risk being worried about what the investor thinks instead of what the client thinks, which I think is a
Exactly,
dual focus, which
exactly.
is really dangerous.
Yeah, with investors, always about the next round, and you need to reach those milestones. But honestly, like, it's also about like the customers, the employees, how to build a great company. And it's not about only numbers, not only about metrics and stuff like that. It's also about relationships.
What's your North Star? Like for Bezos will be client satisfaction.
What do you mean exactly, North Star? Like, when it comes to building a company,
Exactly.
what's most important for me, you mean? Hiring the right people, I would say. That's the number one. Like, if you have the right people, it's fun to work. It's, something completely different, that you challenge yourself. It's not only colleagues, it's more friends. And it's going to be a nice environment to actually thrive and to build a company in that. And if you have the wrong people, honestly, that's the worst that can happen.
Yeah. It's all about
Yeah.
people, right?
Bad people drag down good people, and at the end of the day, everyone is bad.
I was speaking with a guy from the Formula One team at Ferrari, and he said that's their car. It's just about people, and the rest almost takes care of itself. And they're a great team, so I guess.
Yeah, I guess it worked. Yeah.
It works for
Yeah, the
them.
team is everything. The team is everything. If you have a great team, you can have a shitty product, but still be able kind of to be successful, because you will find your way with your team to make it successful.
Yeah, that's the main word of big tech giant CEOs, stealing the best people from each other.
Exactly. It makes sense. Yeah. People make everything,
They
make
say
off everything.
Bezos went to Seattle for that reason because there was Microsoft, so great people, but he was in San Francisco, so less competition. So if you were in the Microsoft, they are working for Amazon. It
Yeah.
was a strategic move, apparently.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I
And
guess
also, it
so.
rains a lot, so you stay more inside.
And I mean, especially when you found a company, it's all about the people. You don't have a product, you don't have metrics, you don't have any history. It's about the people. And investors only invest in people at the beginning, because what else is there? So,
It
yeah.
worked great for you. And I forget to mention what were your results. I saw you were Forbes 30 under 30, and you sold your company for 60 million, was it?
Yeah, 60 million. Yeah,
So you
exactly.
also have the results to speak about it for people that
Yeah.
didn't know in this podcast. And do we want to say what's your book title? We give you some traffic, Finan, and your Substack.
So I don't have a book title yet, but I have this Substack, which is called The Honest Founder, where I share these weekly articles about how I founded my company, how I sold it, and all the kind of mistakes along the way. So you can actually do it too. And you can find me on xaverlehmann.com, like my name, just having it across together, and then you can
What
go on the
about
website and see what I'm doing.
the new company's website and the African project? They're very interesting.
So it's just, my website is on Substack. It's just the Honest Founder website. And it's, xaverlehmann.com is just my personal website. That's what, that's where everything is on what I'm doing right now. And you can check out my, frameworks and courses and stuff like that on the website if you want to check it out. Or you can reach out to me if you need any coaching advice or something else.
Oh, well.
Yeah, you can.
But thanks for encouraging me to keep bootstrapping.
Yeah, I mean, try it out as long as possible, or raise a small round and see where you go. But I would definitely try to avoid having investors too early in.
Man, I admire you a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here, really. And what will you do now? Back to hard work or enjoy your day?
I'm actually going to the gym now because I need a break. So I always
Yeah.
do some breaks in between, right? So lunch and gym, and then at some point, I'm gonna be back at the
Walking the
laptop
walk,
again.
right? Walking the
Yeah,
walk.
yeah, walking a little bit, just enjoying the sun outside, and yeah, see where it takes me. I've got a couple
Where
of
are you
calls in
now?
the afternoon.
In Holland
I'm in
or
Munich,
Germany?
in
Germany.
Germany. Yes,
So
exactly.
the sun is a rare commodity for you guys.
It is kind of. I mean, in Munich it's better, but if you lived in Berlin or Hamburg, it's gonna be quite shitty.
Get out, get out. I won't keep you. I won't keep you inside.
No worries. But it was really
Man,
nice to talk to you.
yeah,
I really
same.
enjoyed it, Renzo.
I learned
And if
a
you
lot
need
of things
anything,
as
just
well.
let me know.
Thank
And
you.
yeah,
Same.
congrats also to your Substack, and I will definitely keep an eye on what you're posting too.
Thank you. Let's do something else sometimes.
All right. Bye bye. Have a great
Ciao.
day. Bye.
You too.
Ciao.